Hello and welcome. Right, you know the plan, you know the plot. We're going to review some beers and we're going to talk nonsense. And there's no real agenda here. I could do some questions, but anyway, before we get into anything, none of this is offensive to me. None of this is supposed to be offensive to you. If you're finding offence, and I don't mean to give that offence, then it's a you problem, not a me problem. If you don't like free speaking, if you don't like non-offensive free speaking especially, you can just fuck off. Right, now we've got that sorted out. Now, thanks to Lawrence, first and foremost, brought over his stag earlier on, actually last week, for me to sort out some tuning issues. I hope it's still going okay, Lawrence. Yeah, there's a few issues with that stag, and I'll come on to those in a second. But first and foremost, you can see you bought me a fine selection of ales here. Now, because it is British Grand Prix Day today, I think I'm gonna hit up one of the Silverstones here. So we have got here Silverstone Checkered Flag, Silverstone Octane, Silverstone Ignition, and Silverstone Pit Stop. So do you know what? I'm going to start with Pit Stop for no other reason than I quite like the look of it. 3.9%, and it says on the back, "Engineers of beer, pit stop. If you're tired of ordinary beers, then it's time for a pit stop. This golden pale ale is loaded with hops." I put my wrong fucking glasses out again. It's loaded with hops to deliver a zesty aroma with a refreshing citrus bite. Allergy advice. Well, I'm not allergic to anything apart from penicillin, so you can fuck off then. Oh, I can't get pregnant if I drink it, which is good news. Right. Let's have a look. Thank you, Lawrence. Cheers. It's got a zing. It's almost orangey. Try again. I quite like it. It's attacked my entire taste bud setup now. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, we're going to give it a thumbs up. Right, let's talk some nonsense then. So there's no format, there's no script, there's no nothing for these particular sessions. Occasionally people send me in questions. I've only got one question to discuss today. So folks, if you've got questions, bung them over. They've got to be questions though, rather than you look strange and you dress funny. It needs to be a question. So yeah, if you've got questions, bung them over, drop them on an email. You know my email address, churchhouseclassics. It is all one word. I haven't done that for ages, have I? We're going to come on to that in a second. At gmail.com. Right, okay, so first and foremost, what was wrong with Lawrence's car? Well, it came in because it wasn't running right, and I must admit, I could smell the rich fuel mixture from about 7 miles away. Nice car. It's definitely a fixer-upper, but it's solid and it's honest. Just needs paint and a few other bits and bobs sorting out. Nice car though, Lawrence. But it wasn't the carbs. Well, it was the carbs. The carbs were a little bit of the problem, but there were issues on this particular vehicle. Ignition timing was wrong. Vacuum advance wasn't connected inside the distributor, and none of this was down to Lawrence. Vacuum advance wasn't connected inside the distributor. It had one of those power spark modules, which I've had fail on my car, and it gave some weird readings when I was on the strobe, when I was trying to select the ignition timing, which I'll cover off in another video. And then we eventually got down to the carburetors, and one of the float chamber needle valves was leaking badly. I could breathe through it. Once that was all sorted out, I didn't even bother with the CO settings on it, because I got it running really, really smoothly. It would be around the 4 to 4.5% CO, which is fairly easy to do. I didn't do a full rebuild on the carbs. I just baselined them. And yeah, I got the temperature compensators working. But yeah, I'm hoping that's still working for you, Lawrence. And cheers for the beer, old chap. So where are we? July 2023. The world has gone nuts, and I'm not going to discuss it because I'm fed up with it all. So moving forwards, I'm not going to be discussing the world as it is, unless it's something particularly funny that really, really fucking amuses me. I'm not going to bother because there's enough people out there that are already discussing the world as it is, the lunacy that is, and I don't need to add to that really. I think I said in the last video, first burp, I said in the last video that I don't rely on a single news outlet, the arbiters of the truth. And the big joke about that arbiters of the truth thing that the BBC have come out with, by the way, if they don't put that stupid little poxy logo on a news item, does that mean that they've not fact-checked it? Anyway, enough of the BBC. What channels do I like watching? Well, some of them you're going to frown at, some you're not. I like Black Belt Barrister. I think he's very good, informed, interesting channel. I like, he's got a couple of channels. He's got one where he speaks his mind, not quite as eloquently as I do. No, he's more eloquent than I am. I like Jeff Buys Cars. It's interesting. He's doing all what I need to do about electric vehicles. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. I just watch the online news channels, GB News, Sky News on YouTube, and there's what's the other one? I can't remember now. Brain's gone blank. But yeah, I watch all that stuff. And to be honest, I don't really pay that much attention. It's just in the background while I'm working. So that's where I get most of my stuff from. I don't read newspapers. I don't watch the news on the telly because it's all just nonsense. A lot of it. Absolute nonsense. In my humble opinion. Right, so I'm not going to be going through the world as it is because there just is no need. Oh, the only thing that I will say, and this did amuse me, is that the third place runner in the British Grand Prix today, should we call him Hammy the Hamster, finished third. Well done for that, by the way. Fucking cracking effort. I haven't seen the race yet because I'm not a slave to watching TV on a nice sunny day, but my boy's up there. Yeah, well done for getting on the podium, provided of course that the organisers don't completely change the order of things for breaching track limits or some other bollocks like that. Oh, there's my phone going beep 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 beep. But yes, he came out yesterday, I believe, and said that he supports the political group who not even political group, the group who are out there to disrupt anything they possibly can by chucking orange powder or paint or soup or whatever over everything. I'm not going to give them the coverage. I don't need to. So you are a professional racing driver stroke playboy who basically will send a plane round the world to fetch your fucking hat, and you are supporting that movement. Yes. Silverstone pit stop, very good. So what have I got coming up in the workshop? It's a bit disjointed, this, Richard. Let's try and get some focus. Perhaps I should script these things. What have I got coming up in the workshop? Well, I've still got Lincoln Green. It's July 2023. It's been in my workshop now. Well, it's on and off. It's been in over a year. As you know, the scope of the work has evolved somewhat since the car first came in, and for that, I'm very grateful to John, the owner, that he trusts me to work with his car. So yeah, that's good. I'm pleased with that. But that car's almost ready to move on. So we're going to get it MOT'd. Then he can drive it, and we're going to sort out paint. He's supposed to be getting it painted, but the deal's fallen through. I don't want to paint it, John. I don't want to paint it. I really don't want to paint another Range Rover. They're hard work to paint. I've then got 89 Vogue SE outside, which I've been working with the customer. It's going to be coming up soon, and we're going to fit some panels. Aren't you, Cliff? Looking forward to that. Get that car back up on four wheels, starting, stopping, and assembled, which will be good. And then moving forwards, I've got a couple of soft dashes due in. One is the car that you've seen already. That, in fact, you've probably seen a few of them, but it's the one with the steering box on. Very tidy 300 TDI. Wants a tiny bit of welding on the front inner wing. Not in the usual place, but underneath the headlight box. And there's a couple of other little odds and sods that the owner would like me to attend to, but that's a very nice and tidy car. I've got James's car. Thank you, James, for all the toothbrushes, by the way, and the old curry containers. I do appreciate that. I get a lot of stuff, by the way. And if I don't call you out, please don't be offended. Drop me an email and say, Rich, what's going on? You didn't call me out, and I bought you a box of toothbrushes. Might sound odd, but I use toothbrushes for doing all the cleaning and shit like that. So, yeah, thank you, James, for that. If I haven't shouted you out or anything, then please get in touch with me. Don't be offended. I get a lot of people send me really interesting things. And I know James bought me some beers, which were supposed to be for a beer and bollocks, and then I drank them and didn't do a beer and bollocks. So don't feel bad about the fact that I'm drinking Lawrence's beer and doing a beer and bollocks. Very nice. I'm thinking about which one I'm going to have next. This is a pit stop. So soft dash for James pretty much needs a waist down assessment. Now, inner wings on the front are good. I'll serialise it on the channel, but it needs usual work around the bulkhead sides, the footwells, the sills, the rear arches, the boot floor. But it's actually in fairly good shape already, so it's just a case of stripping the thing outer panels off, getting it sorted out, sending it on its way. James will be happy with that. I have got on the list, I've got an MG Midget 79 rubber bumpered MG Midget coming in, and that's for one of my wife's cousin's boyfriend's next door neighbour's son's cleaner. Met a bloke down. No, so we're not going down tenuous link route. But no, it's honestly it's one of my wife's cousin's kids. What relation is that? Second cousin? Boyfriend. Second cousin's boyfriend. But he's got a midget, and it was his grandfather's, and it's a keeper, and he wants to get it back on the road. It's been off the road for a fair while now, so it's going to end up being, as far as I'm aware, a mechanical overhaul. Less so on the bodywork. He tells me that the bodywork's solid on it, but you never know until you start picking at the edges on these things. A 44-year-old car. And I've got an MGB. I know. MGB coming in as well at some point. I've got... where are we? I didn't bring the list of the jobs out, which is really fucking useless. My stag. So let's go through the stuff that I've got. So my stag, I've done nothing with it since the cold start video. It's sitting there, it's looking bloody sorry for itself. I've got a differential now, which I'm going to take apart and put into the car, and I'm going to use it. I wanted to get it done for the summer, and we are now halfway through July. You can see how that's going for me. It's good work, Richard. Really, just damn good work now. Perhaps next weekend I will do my stag. I'm going to get it out and into the workshop. I need John's Lincoln Green car out of the way, because as you will have seen from the videos, I'm overloaded with my own projects up at the workshop. So the stag, I need to get on the road. It needs a differential. It needs a quick shakedown. It needs sorting out. I'm going to get rid of that fucking header tank off it, because the cooling system's no longer pressurizing. I'll go through all that in a separate video. Get my stag back on the road again, because it needs to be on the road. I've got a stag gearbox I need to change for a mate as well. So Jeff, yeah, I'm going to do your stag gearbox with Paul, and it's got a BW30, but Borg Warner 35 gearbox in it at the moment, which leaks. Some do, some don't. But I'm going to swap that for a Borg Warner 65, which he's already acquired. That'll be a laugh. We're planning on pulling the engine and box out together as a unit and putting them back in as a unit, but I don't know yet. I really don't know. It seems like a lot of effort. Anyway, so there's that. So my stag, then I've got L95, my 3.9 Vogue Range Rover Classic. You saw the video on it recently. A couple of weeks ago I put that live, and nothing has changed since then, except it's now in my workshop. The reason I've stuck it in my workshop is, if it's in my workshop, then I can't put another car in the workshop. It means I have to do it. I've not managed to do anything on it yet, so I welded up the right hand rear corner, so it's a lot more structurally solid. I need to rebuild the C-pillar, and then I need to re-weld the goalpost, but it is moving forwards. I think, if I'm honest, it's going to be a long project. It's going to be a long project because I just haven't got the bloody time to do it. And I need to get rid of some stuff, and I've already had a conversation about getting rid of projects and getting rid of stuff out of my life, just to make my life just a little, so I can see, when I see the light at the end of the tunnel, I want to be sure it's not an oncoming freight train or a Range Rover Classic or one of those bloody fucking German SUV things with headlights so bright they shine through concrete. What is it? I can see. Fuck the rest of you. Oh my God. Yeah, it'll be one of those coming at me. Not giving way. Sandy the Landy. I've got... It was on first refusal to Dave. Dave's been a bit on the busy side. I don't know. I can't get hold of Dave. Someone else has offered me the money I want for it. It's going to go. Couldn't find the V5C. So when I checked, the car was delivered. We know the owner. You know the guy who's got it, who we bought it from. So I spoke to him. He said, oh, you sent it off to the DVLA. Oh, fucking hell. The preventer of vehicle registrations. So we've applied for another V5C, and then that can go. Sandy the Landy's going to go. I know that my plan was originally to re-chassis it in a weekend, and I know that there was going to be a lot of interest in that, but I've just got too much stuff in my yard at the moment. Perhaps I should really be getting rid of one of the Range Rovers rather than Sandy the Landy. But if there's someone's offered me the money I could do with for it, then that's money that goes in the coffers. And that money can then be used on the L95 restoration, but also the Ghost Train. Now, what's happened with the Ghost Train, I hear you say? It will be serialised as well, but I started to pull it apart. So I had a chap come over recently, and giving it all the mouth about he wanted a dash and a set of seats out of a 75 Range Rover. So, oh, I've got all that in Sandy the Landy, and because the idea with Sandy the Landy is I'm going to put a later dash. I've got a 90s dash and a 200 TDI loom with the better fuse protection and so forth. And I've got the pair of seats that are in the Lincoln Green A-suffix Range Rover, which don't, they're not standard seats, but they're going to look better in the Ghost Train than they do in an A-suffix. I'm not bothered about it. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to go for, that was pit stop. Let's go for Octane. Octane, I'm instantly drawn to the 4.8% on the front of Octane. Octane, pale, crisp and hoppy. What do you reckon? On the back it says, engineers of beer, Octane. The premium pale ale is fueled with extra malts and 5 hop varieties. 5. I didn't know there was more than one. To provide a clean and crisp beer with more body and a slight toffee sweetness. Allergy advice, you won't get pregnant. Best before 0924. Cheers, Lawrence, for this one. Yeah. Let's get this open. I can't find the bloody bottle opener, so I'm going to open it with this wrench. Is it going to work? Don't break the neck of the bottle, Richard. Fucking bastard. There we are. Sorry, folks. That was just totally uncalled for. Octane. I prefer it. That was all right. I wouldn't rush for another one of those. This, I like this one. This has got 2 thumbs ups, 3 thumbs ups. That's quite nice. Right, so Ghost Train. So the plan is, now I've got all of the dash and the interior out of it, and it still starts and stops, by the way. What I plan to do with it is to replace the checker plate sills, put standard sills, two-door sills back on it, weld the bulkhead up, and I've got all of the bulkhead parts now to rebuild there. I've got some glass fibre outer wings to the front end. I've got another bonnet that I'm going to put onto him. And then it's going to get painted. I've got a better roof to go on it on the front cab, but I wasn't entirely sure where I was going to go as far as the roof, the rear bulkhead, and the back end. I've got some glass fibre rear wings, thank you, Tim, which I was then going to sort out with some good inner wing sections. And it could end up being factory, or it could end up being fashioned out of all of that fucking checker plate that I cut off the back of it. But the idea is to bring it up to a standard looking Range Rover two-door from the waist down, but not have the roof over the back end of it. So then what do I do? Well, it's got a 200 TDI in at the moment, which there is an attraction in the 200 TDI. It'd be nicer if it was V8 though, wouldn't it? So I've got a number of V8s that I could drop in. I've been collecting V8s. The obvious solution would have been the 4.6 that I got rid of with the P38. We can have a chat about P38 actually, because I don't think we've ever discussed the P38 and what happened to that. Because that's a lesson learned. That is. It might go V8. It might stay 200 TDI. It might go complete convertible. It might go into an Octopussy, but not brown. Although I could get that Doris in the front of it. Can't say that, Richard. Just did. Oh. Yeah, if I can get that up and running, which I will do, it's a relatively quick piece of work. I reckon a weekend I could get one side of it done. Sills, bulkhead side, footwell. Second weekend do the other side. Bish bosh. Layer some paint on it. Get it looking half decent. Use it as a work truck. And then I could get rid of the only road legal car I've got at the moment, which is the Mitsubishi, and does absolutely everything that I want it to do. But I run a restoration business. I run a restoration business restoring classic Range Rovers. Why are you smoking around in an L200? But it does everything I want it to do. And it's 29 years old. 2000, no, sorry, 20, what are you talking about? The Range Rover's, my classic Range Rover is 29. It's 30 now. August, it's 30. Yes, it's 2004. I don't know. God knows. Anyway, Octane. It's definitely pale, it's definitely crisp, and I'm very happy. It says pale, crisp and happy. 4.8%. Nice, thank you. So yeah, Ghost Train, I'm actually going to do something with it. I tried to sell it, it wasn't going to happen, so I'm going to do something with it. Sandy's getting sold fairly quickly, as it is. The Ghost Train's going to get up and running. And then I've got 3 A-suffix Range Rovers, as you know. Now, 2 of them are complete matching numbers. And the third one, which I've tried to vlog a couple of times now, is end to end is very, very, very solid. No. End to end is very, very, very rusty. Oh, yes, that was it. But it's got everything apart from its original engine. So my idea on that, it's got the Peugeot X, whatever it is, 2.3 diesel 4-pot. Hook that out. If I can crank it by hand, which I probably will be able to test that just using the starter motor, then sell that as it is. I'm not interested. It's diesel. It sounds quite rude there. I'm more of a petrol bloke. I can understand diesel. Diesel on a let's say, a Maybach diesel in one of the Western classes, they're fantastic, unbelievable. Diesel hydraulic, just sound beautiful. Diesel on a Range Rover, I can't see it. I really can't see it. Anyway, so hook the diesel out. If I can crank it by hand, it gets flogged. I've got two complete V8s. The best one that I can crank over on the workshop floor, I'll drop into it. Okay, and then get that so it's up and running. Maybe off a jerry can, probably off a jerry can, and hot wired. Refurbish the brakes on it so at least it starts and it stops. Maybe even replace the sills and sort out the A post, B post, because there's been a number of cars that I've seen sell recently, and the general perception has been that they are easier to sell when they start and stop. So I guess then what happens is whoever buys it can drive it from wherever it's hidden from their wife, partner, we'll say partner, driven from wherever it's hidden from their partner, when their partner's not there, to work on it and then hide it again before they get back. So yeah, I'm going to get that. So the Lincoln Green car, I'll do a series on that as well. Waking up an A-suffix Range Rover that's done the square root of fuck all since about 1993. Wifey just popped her head round the door to say, "What the fuck are you doing? This looks like I've got two ears up here, doesn't it? I've just noticed." There you go. Yes. Other two A suffixes, then perhaps when I've got rid of two of the project cars, perhaps I can look then at one of the other two cars and do the same sort of thing. And this is when I'm looking at a restoration project, there is an area that I can do on the project, on the car, which is more or less guaranteed to see a return. I say more or less, we don't know. We don't know the lunacy of what's going to happen in the world, but more or less guaranteed a return. And it's pretty much around the first like 30, maybe 40% of the project. It's about getting the chassis into a solid state, maybe even painted, getting the axles rebuilt, getting the engine and the gearbox working, getting the electrics working, getting the brakes working. But things like electrics, you can bypass a lot of that because you don't need an awful lot of wires to start an older car. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of it because otherwise there'll be some scally out there who'll be thinking, oh yeah, that's how I nick one. It's actually a lot easier to nick a newer Range Rover than it is an older one. Thieves these days, they don't know how to drive a manual gearbox. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Silly arse. Oh, take. So perhaps rather than doing the electrics, perhaps then I could put my effort into getting the body frame restored. So if I was to refurbish a chassis running gear and get the body frame roughly into the right sort of shape so that you've got decent sills, A posts, B posts on it, and then try and flog it on, because by the time I've done all of it, then the danger is the price goes too high. It no longer becomes a viable project. So I'm rambling somewhat here, but yeah, so I need to get rid of some projects, but I don't want to be getting rid of projects for the sake. I like looking at them, but I'm not just going to let them just fester, nor do I particularly want to flog them to someone who's going to break them up for parts. That's not the reason they've lasted this long. Anyway, so that's those projects, and then I've also got an 88-inch Series 3. I think on the chassis number it's a van. This is the one that I took apart in a tale of three Landys, and I've got everything on it apart from the bulkhead and the chassis, which sounds like a lot, but you buy those 2 bits new. I'd like to actually buy a steel bulkhead and restore it, and they're out there and about. You know, you see them every now and then. As long as the top rail is in reasonable order, the bit where the fart flaps go, just below the windscreen, as long as they're in good order, then, to be honest, you can restore them. Once that bit goes, like it did on Sandy the Landy, it becomes a bit more of a chore. Another burp. Right, let's get on to this my channel, the website, because we're running out of time and I'm only 2 beers in. This is disappointing, Richard. I'm going to go for a Roman Way next. Rex Britannia. It's interesting, doesn't it? Right, 1 second. Go back a year and a bit, and I was getting a load of feedback about, drop me an email, churchhouseclassics, it's all one word, @gmail.com. If you fancy buying me a pint, there's a PayPal me link scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Well, I got a load of feedback basically saying, well, you shouldn't do that. And since I've stopped doing that, the viewing figures haven't increased, but the revenue's dropped. So, as much as you don't like seeing it, the 3 people who did moan about it, one of them was my son. Hello, Louis. And as much as you don't like seeing it, it does prompt people when they're pissed on a Friday night. You know what? I like that. That idiot, he talks some lunacy, so I'm going to buy him a pint. Anyway, here's the PayPal me link scrolling down here right now. So I'm going to go back to that, intros. It also allows me to introduce what I'm actually going to be doing in that video. And I've probably got about 2 months of a good 2 months of work in the pipeline at the moment. So it's going to slowly filter in. And this is videos for work I've done 2 months ago. There's quite a lot of stuff that has yet to be published. I've looked into the membership thing on YouTube, and I get people that viewers, subscribers, who are really keen to try and help me develop and further the channel. And to those people, I really thank you, because it's not that the channel couldn't exist without you, because I would still do the channel, but it makes it so much more worthwhile. It really does, knowing that someone out there sees value in it. And I do this beer. Thank you, Lawrence, again. Right, let's go, Paul. So we've got 2 here. Barbarian's Best and Rex Britannia. Well, seeing as King Charles has pissed me off this week, let's go for Rex Britannia. Why has King Charles pissed you off, Richard? Because he's getting involved in politics, and that's something the late Queen never did. King Charles, back down. There we go, Rex Britannia, Roman Way Brewery, a crisp golden pale ale that boasts a pleasant malty base and a fruity tropical hop finish. Carolus 3 Die Grata Rex Fide Defensor. A pale ale fit for royalty and riffraff. Well, certainly got that here. Allergens, won't get you pregnant, glass is recyclable. We are Roman Way, we are Roman Way, a microbrewery steeped in history, based at the Royal Ordnance Depot in Weedon, Northamptonshire. The brewery site dates back to 1802 and the Napoleonic War. Sorry, terrible punctuation there. It's got a capital A on hand. Our name is inspired by Watling Street, which runs close to Weedon, one of our main Roman roads in Britain, where the Romans defeated Boudicca, or Boudicca. I don't think we should be celebrating the Romans defeating Boudicca. Right, let's go and get a charger. plug the charger in. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, what the Romans ever done for us. I expect Comrade Khan will be bringing Boudica's statue down on Westminster Bridge very soon because she's got her bosom exposed. Says here, bottle contained beer. Try not to shake. Hang on a second. 500 millilitres, 5.2%. Rex Britannia. Cheers.
Don't you have any string in it, do you?
That was the wife. Let's turn the charger on. There we are, we're charging the battery up. Right, so the website. The other thing that I got a lot of feedback on was that the videos have become less technically orientated and more focused on, well, I'm going to do this next, and then snapping to, and there it is, finished. Which is all well and good. So now I'm putting a lot more time into creating content, which I don't bill the customers for, and the viewing figures have dropped. Maybe folk are just getting bored with Land Rovers, or me, I don't know. But I'm going to try and adapt it. I'm not going to move away from the technical content, because I think that is a good idea, and I do like it. I was looking through some of the really early videos, the shaky videos, with the classical music in the background and the farting. So I need to retain that. This is fucking nice, by the way. 5.2%. This is the strongest of the lot so far. So we've gone from 3.9 to 4.8 to 5.2. That's a beefy ale, that. It's a lot smoother than this one. This was sharp. I say this was crisp. This one, I also said it was crisp, but this was sharper. It is smooth. It says it's got a smooth malty base and a fruit tropical hop finish and a fruity tropical hop finish. I should wear the right glasses for these. Someone just send me a reminder to wear the right fucking glasses. And a fruity tropical hop finish. Burp coming up. No. This is my favourite so far. It's nothing to do with the strength. That was damn good. This is damned very good. Anyway, so the website. So I'm going to carry on with the content. I'm going to still be doing weekly videos. I'm going to still keep the videos as close to half an hour as I can. Half an hour of burping. Pardon me. Because I understand that when people are watching videos, they tend to watch them. When you see like an hour-long video of just nonsense, you think, oh God, I'm going to get 15 minutes in, I'm going to turn it off. I'm never going to go back to it. I'm also going to do continue with the world-renowned and world-famous how-to videos, which is more often than not, it's going to be snippets from existing live videos that you will have already seen, but just trying to instruct people how to do something, because my 3 most popular videos by some margin are a Renault Clio Mark II 2002 with the indicators that aren't behaving. That was a body control module, whatever they call it, UCH in French. Surprised it's not on fire. No, that's just a reference there to the French rioting at the moment. The French are revolting. God knows. Well, the EU's welcomed this. No, we're not going to go into politics, Richard, are we? We're not. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not. It's not happening. So yes, that's one of my most popular videos. The second most popular video I've got is the radio removal from a Hyundai i10. And the third most popular video I've got is a review I did on my big ultrasonic tank. Now, on a monthly basis, those 3 videos are responsible for about a quarter of my revenue. And I did them years ago. So much so that I regularly get offered, can you do a review on our ultrasonic tank, please? I will give one to you. But I've already got one. What do I want another one for? Anyway, could help them out. Helping people out. Let's ramble about that for now, because as you well know, I help pretty much anybody and everybody. It's just part of my mantra. Is that even the right word? I don't know. Anyway, someone's got a problem, they need help, I'm going to help them. But there's been a trend developing recently. I'm not having a bitch here, but it's something that I'm getting more aware of, is that you help someone and they say, oh, thank you very much, yeah, I'll send you a beer, and they never do. I don't care. But then they come back again. Oh, now I've got this problem. Oh, I'll send you a beer, and that doesn't come over either. And then they call again, and again, and again, and again. And you end up spending hours with these folk. Now, I want to help them, but for fuck's sake. So, if you're someone that regularly asks me questions and never gives me anything back, then I will get back to you, I promise. Because there's no obligation. But, and I've had this a few times recently, someone will send me a very large beer, a bottle of whiskey-sized beer, or a bottle of gin-sized beer. And this sounds like fucking cash for questions now, which is not what I wanted. And then they send me a question, and I'll answer it quicker. This is cash for questions. Richard, shame on you. I'm not even sure what I was trying to say then. Oh, God help us. It's the Rex. I'm going to blame it on Rex Britannia. King Charles, you see, getting involved in it. That's nice. That is nice. Anyway, so summing up, if you're still here, do you know what? Thank you very much for still being here. I appreciate that, because I can't believe you are still here. I would have thought my viewing figures by now would be down to about 0, because my mother's dead, and she'd be the only one who would have told me, Richard, for fuck's sake, get off the bloody telly. Drive me up the wall. So I think the thing is that I'm going to try and do these more regularly. I found that the vitamin D I'm getting from being out in the open and the sunshine of the summer has improved my mood immeasurably. And so because of that, I'm able to do more of these things. Mindful of that, I'm going to take a vitamin D supplement. Oh, fuck off! Take a vitamin D supplement in the wintertime when the sun is further away from the northern hemisphere. I think the climate catastrophists, Armageddonists, whatever, might say that, yes, the climate is warming because yesterday was colder than it is today by 0.02 degrees. Oh, fuck off. God help us. Anyway. As you can see, 2.5 beers, and the Rex Britannia. Should I do another one? No, Not right now. I'm not going to do another one. I'm going to go because I've got jobs to do. Not customer jobs, home jobs. I'm at home. No, I don't do drinking and customer jobs. That's definitely my time. There you go. Yeah, Roman Way Brewery, Rex Britannia, with bloody mosaic Union flag, which wouldn't have existed until 1700 years after the Romans fucked off. What the Romans ever done for us. Oh, do you like my shirt, by the way? There's a few Pythonists will recognise that. Yeah. My dad bought this for me. I've got no idea where he got it from. Yeah, I quite like that. Anyway, enough of this bollocks. Get back to your lives. Be nice to people. And I'll see you next time.